Hello everyone, let's try to be a cheat code ninja today. In this question, we are given a string containing of characters and parentheses. And we have to make the string valid by removing the minimum number of parentheses. A valid parentheses arrangement would look like this. Let's look at a first example. Here we see that there are 2 opening parentheses and 3 closing parentheses. We can make the string valid by removing the last parentheses after E. Hence, by removing only one parenthesis, we can make the string valid. We can also try out different arrangement of parentheses. For example, we could remove the closing parenthesis after C and keep the other closing parentheses. Even in this case, we have to remove one parenthesis. Similarly, we could remove the closing parenthesis after O and keep the other closing parentheses. Here also, we have to remove at least one parenthesis to make our string valid. In the second example, there are 2 closing parentheses and 1 opening parenthesis. There is only one possible solution over here where we remove the first closing parenthesis. Let's try to come up with a solution for this. Let's understand what a valid parenthesis arrangement is. The most important thing is that the number of opening parentheses should be equal to the number of closing parentheses. A closing parenthesis should always be preceded by an opening parenthesis. If it is the other way around, then it is a wrong arrangement. Let's take an example. We see that the number of opening parentheses is 2 and the closing parenthesis is 1. Hence, we'll have to remove one opening parenthesis. If we remove the first parenthesis, then it would lead to an invalid arrangement. If we remove the last opening parenthesis, then it would lead to a valid arrangement. This is because every closing parenthesis needs to be preceded by an opening parenthesis. So it makes sense to start removing the opening parenthesis from the end. Let's look at another example. Here we have 4 opening parentheses and 2 closing parentheses. So we have to remove 2 opening parentheses. If we remove the 2 opening parentheses at the start, then it would lead to an invalid arrangement because the closing parentheses need to be preceded by an opening parenthesis. If we remove the 2 opening parentheses from the end, then it would lead to a valid arrangement. Hence, it makes sense to remove extra opening parentheses from the end. Since we have to remove characters from the end, it makes sense to use a stack. Let's look at the time and space complexity. We'll be adding characters to the stack only once and we'll be removing them from the stack at most once. Hence the time complexity would be O of n. The space complexity would be O of n because we'll be using a stack. Let's implement our solution. Let's create an empty stack and a variable opening to track the number of opening parentheses found so far. We now have to iterate over all the characters in the string. Let's add the character to our stack. Let's check if that character is an opening parenthesis. Then in that case, we'll increase the count of opening by 1. Now we'll check if that character is a closing parenthesis. We'll have to check if there is an unused opening parenthesis available before it. In that case, we'll reduce the count of the unused available opening parentheses. If we didn't have any opening parentheses available, then in that case, that closing parenthesis is invalid and we have to remove it. Hence, we'll just pop the last character from our stack. We don't have to handle anything for the alphabet characters and they are already added to the stack. Now we have taken care of all the invalid closing parentheses. We may still have some extra unused opening parentheses and we have to remove them. As we discussed before, we have to remove them from the end. Hence we'll iterate on the stack from the last element till we have extra opening parentheses to remove. Hence we'll also keep a check on the opening variable in our while loop. We'll check if that character is an opening parenthesis, then we'll make it a blank character. We also have to decrease the count of our opening characters. Let's not forget to decrease the index. At the end of the loop, we can join our stack into a resulting string and directly return it. Let's submit our solution. As you can see, our solution is accepted. If you have any doubts or concerns regarding this solution, please mention in the comments. If you thought this video was helpful, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.